Hello there and welcome to the SOAP API series. In this video, we're going to talk about a very important topic, which is adding custom functionality in the S4HANA system. Even though the SAP S4HANA system is a mature solution, but businesses are constantly changing and they're also unique in their own ways. So they have their own processes, they have their own unique scenarios and use cases. So adding custom functionality has been a requirement since even the legacy SAP ERP systems, and it very much continues today into the cloud. So what are the things we need to keep in mind when we think about extending S4 functionality? Of course, this is a huge topic, and I'm going to touch a very small piece which connects this whole problem to the solution which can be delivered by using SAP Build Apps specifically. The first point is to keep the core clean. This means we don't want to be adding too much custom code to the main core code base of the SAP S4HANA solution. The reason being, this simply becomes too complex over a period of time, so management becomes very difficult, and also it becomes too long and expensive in the upgrading process. And this makes it difficult for the customer to follow along with the innovation cycles, and also becomes difficult to follow the principles of agile development and also cloud practices. Now, in terms of extending the S4HANA functionality, let's take a look at these two approaches, which is the SAP S4HANA customization and side-by-side extension on the BTP platform. Let's take a look at the key user extensibility. Now, this is basically a subset of tools that helps or enables the business to extend their data model, business logic, UI of the SAP S4HANA system. This is often used when you want to make small changes to your application. For example, adding custom fields, hiding fields, even actually you can go about adding logic, and of course there are various other things which you can do within this context. The next is the developer extensibility. Now, this is when you actually write custom ABAP code on the SAP S4HANA cloud. Of course, this ABAP code has restrictions for cloud readiness so that it does not interfere in the upgrading process. Let's take a look at the next approach, which is developing side-by-side extensions on the BTP platform. So these are software applications which run outside of the SAP S4HANA cloud system. They are integrated with the SAP S4HANA tightly over BTP, and these are done via standard APIs. And with a solution like SAP Build Apps, you can build applications using a low-code approach. So this allows business users, SMEs, and any citizen developer and also Fusion team developers to go about building solutions, to go about building customizations which can extend the SAP S4HANA solution based on their requirements. Now, there are various use cases for customer extensions in all of these areas. Maybe I can pick up a few examples. For example, in the human experience management is when you hire a person, the whole hiring process, the onboarding process, the initial training process. This is, kind of an anxious period for the employee who's been hired. So to create a custom built process or a workflow for a specific team which has their own requirements, but of course they need to be able to talk to the S4HANA system because they need to maintain the identity and various other things. So they can create an application outside the context of SAP S4HANA, but they can create their own workflow. At the same time, they can push information in and out of the SAP S4HANA. So this way, they're not really tied to follow just what is available in the SAP S4HANA. For example, in sales and customer service, generally speaking, the sales employees which go and meet customers are out on the rounds. They need information about the customer. And if they have to log into the SAP S4HANA system, it's a long process. And also it needs security, it needs VPN access and authorization and various other things. So if there is an application which safely can render the information about the customers to the salesperson at the right time, that's going to be very helpful. And if they can bypass the entire security process, that'll be very useful because they will have the information with them in a time when they need it. So similarly, there are a lot of use cases in supply chain management, sourcing and procurement, and various other LOBs which you see here, and of course much beyond this. So what are the benefits of using SAP Build Apps to develop SAP S4 functionality? Is businesses can innovate as they need, right? On top of what they have, they can innovate as they need based on their changing requirement. And by doing this, you can keep the core clean. You can use the bi-modal approach, which is you can also have consistency and dependability from the S4 HANA solution. At the same time, you can explore new solutions and new innovation parallelly. You can reduce complexity of your solution. And of course, you can make your upgrades hassle-free because you're not touching the core code. And by doing all this, you'll be able to follow the innovation cycles and also the agile practices. Now let's take a look at the high-level steps from a 50,000 feet level, which you will have to take to build these S4HANA user extensibility functions. Now largely, they are divided into building the app and building the integration with the S4HANA cloud system. So in the building integration piece, first, you need to build the custom business objects in the S4HANA cloud. So you will have to decide the functionality which you want to extend. Then you will have to establish connectivity between the SAP S4HANA cloud system and the SAP BTP system. And of course, by now you may have your app already ready to go. And now you can integrate the available API from the SAP BTP into your SAP Build App application. Now let's drill down and take a look at, again, at a very high levels, the steps you will need to take. Now, in order to build custom business objects in S4HANA Cloud, first you're going to build a custom business object. Then you're going to set up the communication scenario, and then you're going to allocate a business catalog to the business object. And this is what is going to allow you to communicate to the business object. In terms of the communication setup, first of all, you will have to create a communication system within your SAP BTP account. And then you will have to create a communication system, user, and arrangement in the SAP S4HANA cloud system. And then you will set up the end-to-end communication between the BTP and the SAP S4HANA cloud system. Of course, building apps on the SAP Build Apps, you've already seen what it takes to do. So you have drag and drop user interface. You can create logic visually without any code. You have API and cloud storage capability, and you can seamlessly connect to SAP and non-SAP systems. And since we're talking about the SAP S4HANA system, it's on the BTP platform, so it's very tightly integrated. And of course, you can create a mobile or a desktop application. Now, something to think about in terms of developing the app is getting access to the server, right? We all know that this takes a long time to get access to the server, the approvals, and sometimes it may not be sufficient. What we get access to may not be sufficient to develop the functionality. And of course, there are various variations to that problem. So to tackle this problem, you can use a mock server, and you can also use mock APIs. So you can go about building the whole app. Of course, there are going to be some restrictions in terms of the functionalities rendered by the mock server and the mock APIs. And once the approvals come through and once you are ready to test, you can just swap the target URLs and you'll be good to go. All right, so much for it. In the next video, we'll see how to integrate one of such mock APIs into the SAP Build Apps. I'll see you there.